Now we're going to talk a little bit about customizing the interface. Maya is a very customizable application, and you can use a language called Mel scripting to pretty much change it into any look and feel you want. Most people stick with pretty much the standard look and feel of Maya that comes out of the box because it is, once you've learned that interface, it's pretty easy to go from machine to machine. But let me show you a little bit about customization and how you can turn on and off different interface elements so that way you can have a little bit more customization. A lot of the customization comes under this window menu item. And under Settings Preferences, you have what's called Preferences. Now, this brings up a big dialog box. And we have a number of things that we can set preferences for. The first one we can set preferences for is actually the interface itself. Now, do we want to show the main menu bar? Okay, we don't have to. Do we want to show the title bar, which is the window that surrounds our current window, so you can get rid of that. We can also customize UI elements. Go here. We can turn off any one of these elements. So, for example, we could turn off our status line. We could turn off our shelves. In fact, if I clicked all of these off, pretty much turn off everything. And if I went over here, I could turn off my menu bar, and I'd pretty much have just a bunch of viewports, which, if you are using the hotbox and stuff, you might actually be able to navigate around. I like having stuff around because I find it easier sometimes just to move my mouse over and grab a tool or something. So I'm going to turn on all of these, but just know that you can turn everything off, which is great. We also have some other preferences here. We can turn on your help, and again, these are very similar to other applications where you can pretty much, each tool has its own default settings. So for example, for kinematics, which is skeletons, we can set the size of our joints, or we can set ghosting and animation, so on and so forth. So as we work through a lot of these modules, we may be going into preferences and setting preferences for these, but just to know that they're here. Now, another way to customize the interface is by creating your own tools. Now, these tools can be located on what's called a shelf. Now, we've worked a little bit with shelves here. We've seen it at least. This is your shelf. Now, all these tools are actually just custom tools that Alias has created for you, but you can create your own tools. Here, over to the left of here, we have the ability to edit our shelves. Now, if we want, we can take a look at how these are constructed. So, for example, we have a bunch of shelves here. We have general, curves, surfaces, polygons, and so on and so forth. So if we look at, for example, the surfaces menu, we can see our shelf contents. We have NURB sphere, cube, cylinder, and it pretty much just follows all of these different tools. And here we can change the image if we want a different image of this tool, which I'm not going to do because that's pretty much what it should be. So we can change the tool, we can give it a name, and if we want, we can change what the tool does. So by going over here, so we have three. We have the shelves, the contents, and then we have the commands that actually define what these contents are. So for example, for NURB cylinder, the command is create NURB cylinder. Well, that looks kind of funky, but basically what that is that's what's called a MEL command. And these are the commands that you can type in here down on the command line. And they're also the commands that basically run Maya. So as you work through and just start doing things in Maya, like for example, when we were moving those objects around, behind the scenes it's actually issuing what are called MEL commands to Maya. And then those MEL commands actually do the work of Maya. Now we can take those MEL commands and use it to create macros and to create our own custom tools. So let's show you how to do that. We can, for example, we have here a custom shelf where we can put whatever we want, or we can actually add anything to any shelf we want, but it's probably best to create your own custom shelves. If we want, we could create our own shelf, create a new shelf. Let's, for example, create a shelf called Linda. And now we have a shelf here. Now what we can do is we can add our own tools, our own commands. Now, how do we do that? Well, we have to open a special window here. So I go over here to Window, or I can pull it up in the hotbox under Window, same menu. And I go to General Editors, and I go to what's called the Script Editor. A script editor basically just shows you what mel commands are going. It has two windows, actually. Here it shows you what is going on behind the scenes. Remember how I told you we had all those mel commands happening behind the scenes? Well, this is where we can kind of see what's going on. And here is where we can actually type commands or create programs. And we can also do that down here at the command line. So let's take, for example, one of these chairs. And I'm going to hit W so we can move it. So let's go ahead and move it this way. And then I'm going to move it this way. And then I'm going to move it over here. And if you notice what's happening here, I have the mel command select chair, okay? And then move to this position, move to this position, move to this position, and so on. So as we work through the package, we actually are issuing mel commands. Now I can take those mel commands and use it to create a macro. All I have to do is highlight all of these and just move it up here. And now I have a command. I have a little button. So all I have to do is just hit that button. It selects and moves the chair again, as you can see. In fact, I have to zoom out here. But you can see what it did was it issued all those commands that I just did, which were select the chair and then move it 3 times. So I can take that and very quickly, if there's like some sort of repetitive operation I'm doing, all I have to do is open that script editor, find out what the commands are, and then just drag it up here and I've got my own tool. So I can very quickly create macros. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's go in the shelf editor. So I'm going into my Lynda shelf. I have shelf contents. I can create a new thing called, let's just call that move. I can give it a new name. I can give it a new image, whatever. I can give whatever image I want. And then if I want, I can actually go through and those are the commands that I typed. I can actually go through and edit these commands and do whatever I want, put whatever mel scripting commands I want in there. And that's how you do it. So now I have a custom tool here. And you can create pretty much any type of tool you want. So you'll see a lot of people have their own custom toolbars that they bring with them with custom tools for doing all sorts of things. And you can actually save your shelves out, and you can, in your shelf editor, you can actually save them as well. And if I want, I can delete my shelf. You can do all sorts of stuff. So that's how I customize the interface.